There you go, baby. Um, so one of the things you guys got to really listen in between, Mr. Al Thomas says so much that you can miss some of the greatest golden nuggets. So here would be a question. We deal with freedom. That's our number one word for our opportunity. Would everybody agree with that? Just nod your head, right? It's freedom, residual income, and complete freedom. Um, if you had someone that you knew that just lost their job, how open would they be for doubling their income and getting another job? Wide open, yes or yes. So unfortunately, where there's tragedy, that's where the greatest opportunities are. And I'm not going to expound upon that, except for the fact that wherever there is a great amount of tragedy is where new billionaires and multimillionaires are created. And so one of the greatest things that he said was understanding the real estate marketplace, something that I'm avidly and really involved in at this point. And so you got to understand the price point for mortgages and for interest rates are going to go through the roof. They haven't even globally, they're going to announce a recession in less than 2 to 3 weeks. The price, all you got to do is go to the gas station to understand what I'm talking about. The interest rates in North America alone are going to reach at least 7%. Some are anticipating hitting 9% interest rates. That's a class within itself, but there's a lot of opportunity there. People that are new jacks to the industry are hurting like you've never seen before because the needle is moving on a day-by-day basis and they are losing deals. You just heard what Mr. Al Thomas said. Imagine a mortgage broker of what they are actually dealing with having losing clients on a day-to-day basis, on an hour-to-hour basis, quite frankly. So I want you to really pay attention to that right there, that one piece that he shared, because there's millions of dollars available to you in that marketplace and for the coming weeks and months. I believe if you mastered these 10 things, and I'm just going to run through them. My topic this morning, because I have 2 people in the hospital that is taking me out of a loop. So for those that came on this morning for me, please forgive me. I've been dealing with a lot, but it just is part of life. Prayers are good. I'm fine, but I'm dealing with a lot. It's taking me out of sorts. That being said, I believe if you follow one thing, combined with what Mr. Al Thomas is sharing with you with edification and closeout sessions, as well as showing up to the events. My topic that I'm going to cover next Friday is disrupting systems. My topic I'm going to give you right now is really what distinguishes you from everybody else. Everybody has a hard time building a team. I will expand upon this next week, but I want you to have the 10 bullet points of what you really, and it really all comes down to follow-up. Fortune lives in the follow-up, fortune lives in the follow-up, fortune lives in the follow-up. There's a lot of people, I hear many of you, okay, I got 15 peaks, I got 5 peaks, I got 20 peaks. What's unfortunate is most people that do get on the court, they're great at going out there and approaching 10, 15, 20 people, and they put 120% in getting new prospects, and they put 20% in the follow-up, and that's where they lose all of their money. So here's your 10 things. Number 1, dinners. Even if you started by yourself, you should start acknowledging yourself once a week for all the wins that you have for yourself. And then if you have a team, then and they're local, you should have a dinner with them. We'll go more into that. Or send them a wine basket if they're in another city. This is all about acknowledgement and gratitude if you want to know the topic of this, okay? Or send them a fruit basket if you aren't into alcohol. So that's number 1. Number 2, thank you cards are amazing. Thank you cards for your prospects. A lot of people, like I heard somebody said, well, this person said, I'm never going to call them back. What if right after you met with somebody, every time you met with them, you just sent them a thank you card? Or for a prospect, for a business, and or for a customer, you just kept thank you cards and created that as a muscle, as well as people that have success in your business, as well as, listen to this, listen, Linda, as well as your exit partners. What do I mean by exit partners? When you get to someone's organization as big as Mr. Al Thomas's or mine, you have a lot of people that quit over a period of time. 90% are going to walk away. What if you actually were able to go back to every person that ever quit in your organization or never got in and get them as a customer because they're exposed? You're trying to get new people that have no idea what you're doing, but you got a good 20, 30, 40, some 200, 300 people that are available to you that will support what you're doing, but you let them go away because they had no interest in the business and you left it there. Number 3, gift cards are amazing. I'm talking about just a $5, $10, Starbucks card. You have no idea what that does. You know how many people would just look, I mean, because people only get in the mail these days, bills. Everything else is done by email or by social media. What if you just acknowledge somebody for just getting down and becoming your customer, or acknowledge them for spending time with you and you sent them a gift card for coffee? Nobody's done that for you. Nobody's done that for them. They're just, oh, it was just a cup of coffee. Just to say thank you for your time. Number 4, books are the most amazing peak tool you could ever have, as well as thank you card. There's a myriad of so many extraordinary books that you can just send to somebody. Everybody likes gifts. I don't care what love language you have that's in your space, to get a gift from somebody and open it up and it's wrapped and it's a book that's in alignment with where they are to elevating their life. They didn't sit down with you to not get in the business. They sit down for a reason. People don't care what you know unless they know that you care. It's an amazing way to show that you care. Number 5, you're looking at follow-up calls. I'm gonna leave that there because Mr. Thomas is already extraordinary in going into that. Number 6 is social media. What do you mean by that? I go to Harrison Mills. We have a sit down. He's been my friend for the last 10 years. In turn, I've been piquing his interest, but then I go on my social media and say, look, I went to elementary school. I went to high school with Harrison. Let me tell you why this person's amazing to me. This month, I want to acknowledge somebody once a week that's just amazing to me and be able to just edify who that is. Do you know how strong that would be if somebody just edified who you were as a person without even trying to sell you about the business? Acknowledgement is huge. The greatest listening to a person's ear is their own name. And to read about themselves through another, especially from an alpha male to an alpha male or a female, without trying to pick them up and just talk about the great attributes of that person, it's an extraordinary sleeper cell. I'll talk about that later. That was number 6. You got a social media. So you got dinners, thank you cards, gift cards, books, follow-ups, number 5, social media, number 6, cross-pollination and surprise Zooms. I go to Brian and I say, look, Mr. Lewis, bottom line, we're going to have a call at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And you have 5 people on your team, Mr. Al Thomas, you have Belinda, you have Willie, all on the call, just acknowledging that person for the win that they have. Not that they get on this call, it's expected, but to just really take time and acknowledge people for small wins is massive, massive. It's the gas that gives you an extra 6 miles in somebody's business is for you to acknowledge people there in your life and in your business. Number 7, once a year acknowledgement. If ACN does an acknowledgement every year and acknowledges everybody, why don't you do it for your own business? If you have long-term thinking, you should already be plotting for your own acknowledgement for your team. I don't care if it's 300 or 300 people at the end of the year. Number 8, celebrating little wins for yourself. Stop beating yourself up for what you didn't do and start acknowledging the things that you did. And number 10, outside programs. You should be truly going beyond just what ACN or with this business or anything has to offer, whether it's Eric Worre, Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, and be plugging in and taking your close circle of 3 to 4 or 5 people to elevate their own consciousness, knowledge, and wisdom 4 times. I suggest 4 times, but start with once a year. It creates a bond and experience and relationships beyond your wildest dreams that give people a no-quit attitude to stick with you over time, to create experiences. And that's the last thing I'm going to say is everything that you do is about creating an experience. Why Mr. Al Thomas is so sought after? He creates an experience. Why I'm sought after all over the world? I created an experience. Nobody ever has a conversation with me and doesn't have an experience that they'll never freaking forget. I pride myself on that. Learn how to create an experience.